exception to the rule. Y'all heard that? No exception to the rule. That's what we're going to be dealing with today. We're going to be dealing with some real Jesus. And I'm trying to tell y'all some real Jesus. Oh, this is going to be cold, folks. I mean, it's already cold for those of you that know. Hold on, let me turn that down. My boy Greg Barbineau be having filtering problems, whatever that is. But that's my boy Greg Barbineau, hard-hitting linebacker from back in the day. Sitting here wondering. Yes, May 11th. Mac and KD, back at you, man. I'm telling you about some real Jesus. All my folks, my cousin Darren Handy, Calvin Shepard, Dave Hudson, Clarence James, Carol Jones, Super Bob Owens, Kim Blodgett. Those I came to quietly in prayer about my housing situation. I asked you to pray about this situation with my kids and I. As I'm rolling around, I realize how God works. Charles Kirk, Loretta Kirk, Baron von Romo. I mean, man, I got some hitters out there, folks who went into the prayer trenches for me. And I understand. I love you guys. If I left out anybody, forgive me, because I'm just so excited. After dealing with the realty roundups and sack rentals and all these real estate professionals, just to give you the story, I didn't even put it out there, the story. But I had received a 30-day move-out order. Can you imagine that? 30-day move out, been a consistent, serious renter, 8 years. Make my neighborhood better, praying with people, bringing them some of that real Jesus. And I know it's a lot of my folks that got a problem with that name Jesus, but I don't want you to have a problem with that name Jesus, because it ain't Jesus. It's the people that's perpetrating and laid down the path, and it has been a path laid that was of racism, deception, financial rape, physical rape, the whole type operation. But Keith Davis is here to tell you, I'm telling you. My man, big time, Mike Hawthorne, I love you to death, man, but I'm telling you, man, I know real Jesus. And here's the story, just in a nutshell. After being given a 30-day move-out order the 16th of April, I looked, knowing I didn't have to move. There's a lot of stuff I could have done. People told me go to court, injunctions, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not trying to go up in them folks' courts for nothing. I was in them folks' courts about my children. Unbelievably so. Great as I loved on my children and other people's children, I had to go defend the type of dad I am to people who knew nothing about me and didn't even have kids of their own. As I do my research, I found out the judges didn't have kids, the mediators, nothing. So it really wasn't anything they could tell me. So you know what I did? I stood firm like I do on this racism. I stood firm on like I'm not getting on the ground if I didn't do anything wrong. I stood firm on Jesus, and the rest is history in raising my kids. But back to this story. I went and looked at a 4-bedroom house where I called a little realtor. I have my reference letters and all this kind of stuff. And I called him. And this guy told me, well, Mr. Davis, we have a protocol. And you must make 3.5 times the rent. I was like, my man, if I was making $6,000 a month, do you think I would need to even rent from you? And besides, I'm sitting in front of a home that is raggedy, actually. I'm going to make the neighborhood better. I'm going to upgrade everything. And, they don't want to hear anything real. So the bottom line is I got off the phone and I wasn't upset because I laughed, because I know real Jesus. I said, God, I am not making another phone call. I'm not going to another realty company. I'm not going to pay an app fee. I'm not going to do anything. You're going to handle this. I know you are, because you would not leave me stuck. My man Arnold Stantz, we talked about it. Clarence James, big bro, we talked about it. Those of you who are blessed, my cousin Darren, hey, it was always, hey, God is not going to leave you stuck, Keith Davis. And I was like, wondering, was it a sin that I actually wasn't worrying? My cousin Brian Pete, BK Pete, you know, we talked about such things. But what God was testing me on, I was looking at where I was wondering why there weren't realtors and people who could help a person in my position who wants to rent. And I come to find out there's lots of people out there, but we got all these professionals. Somebody tell me they need a car, want a car sold, I refer them to New. There's Gordon Williams over at Dodge. If you want to do the dealership and work something like that, Gordon Williams is out there. My boy Renew Jordan. I mean, I got backup and backup. You know, people, you know, who can do things quickly. You know, you need to get with a coach, a workout guy. You know what I mean? Bob Owens, young Kev Smith, my young brother-in-law. I mean, people that can really just get you rolling and cracking. Get your cars done. Different detail type things. Dave Hudson. You know what I mean? We got cats that move. Need an AK accredited dog, German Shepherd, Baron von Romo. It's my boy. You need the Pressing Canaries, the Kane Courses, Dr. Charles Kirk. You know, hey, really. But back to this story. So I go to work that day after leaving. I ended up talking to this young fella. I didn't want to berate him, but I said, you know what, man, I know Jesus, man. I'm going to talk to you later. And he was, yeah, you're free to go, Mr. Davis, wherever you want to go. You're a free man. Yes, I am. So I go to work. And I don't even call it work. I go to lace my little people, man. I just love being on elementary yard because this is what God calls me to do. This is when Jesus takes over. I'm loving on kids of all nationalities. And a lot of them, parents try to teach them that racism, foolishness. They teach them poor manners, whiny, tell them, convince them that because they haven't taken their medication, they're going to act out. No. Real Jesus changes all that. These people get things done. But long story short, I do my due diligence with the children, as my Uncle Burrow would say before he passed, R.I.P., Lieutenant Colonel Burrow Handy III. I say this. I turn the corner, come into my home, and when I turn the corner, I see a for rent sign 2 doors down from my house in a fantastic house. I call the number, have a conversation with older gentleman answers, Mexican. Kind of didn't think we could understand each other a lot on the phone, but anyway, after, you know, a kind of a conversation, what do you want? What do you want? You know, I want to call you about renting a house. Well, which one? I have several houses. Another part of my prayer, not only did I pray for a house, I prayed that God would send me to be a vessel to someone who had access to houses, so that when someone like myself, a good person with children or without, needed a service, it would be provided. Not only did this man have a house, he had 7 houses. Okay, here it comes. I'd be there in 10 minutes, my friend. He comes over. I go to my neighbor who happens to be Mexican, knows me 8 years, her family. I want her to come down, Miss Cruz. Yes, Mr. Davis, no problem. As soon as we get over there, Miss Cruz and my man, Mr. Molina, get to talking in their native Mexican. I mean, it was sounding beautiful. They were rolling. I noticed she'd say some things and that man would look at me and start grinning. She'd say some more things, he'd look at me and start grinning some more. Come on, my friend, we come in the house. We look all around. This is tile, new, it's fabulous. Would you like tile? Because the carpet in the bedroom, I can clean it or I can take it out and put tile in. Charge you $50 extra on the rent. Oh, put the tile in, Mr. Molina, put the tile in. So when we get outside, after we, you know, I look at the house, it's perfect, it's good. He said, well, we go to my office and do the application process. I said, sir, I really would prefer not to do the application process. I'd rather just do a handshake, word, cash, extra cash if needed. He said, no, my friend, there's a process. I have an association I'm responsible to. This is what we do. And then my neighbor interrupted and said, Mr. Davis, you're going to get the house. The paperwork is just preliminary. Before I say hallelujah, let me tell you. He said, my friend, he said, even if the credit report come back terrible or bad, I say yes, because you're a good man. And you brought her, she vouched. He said, but because you're a good man. So, like I said about Jesus, because that's who I've been praying and talking with, and he's been lacing the kids and standing for free speech rights. That's who allows me to talk in the face of what others call fear or apprehension or silence or cowardice. I could talk to police about racism, about who got shot yesterday. I could talk to the principals about the piss poor education system that's being taught to our children that make them really just disdain the boring subjects that they're teaching, because it isn't historical truth. It isn't historical truth about people of color, nothing. So we don't want to get off on anything else. I want to just finish with this. Now, I go to Mr. Molina's office, which is at one of his homes, which his wife is there cooking. I meet the lovely Miss Molina. We go in and talk, and he tells me about having insurance on the house, that if the house burns down, anything happens, of course he gets paid, but also at no charge, everything that I put in the house, I get paid too. Then he told me the next day as we talked, because I went back to his home. He invited me over again. He said, I wanted to offer you an option. I want to offer you a lease option to purchase the home from me. If you stay 2, 3, 4 years and you decide you and your family want the home, because he had met my kids by this time. He said, I give you the option to buy the home from me, Mr. Davis. And I was like, wow. I said, well, Miss Molina, how much extra on the rent do you want for this? He said, no, my friend, I'm going to bank this from you out of your, no extra money. I'm going to bank this for you. Hallelujah. Praise ya. Praise your wonderful name. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus is what I'm telling you. I don't care what the realty companies say. I don't care what they say about your due diligence. See, God tells me the little people need help. So I take very little money to help little people. And then I also prayed for my children years ago before they hit the womb. So when I prayed for those children, God gave me those children, and I know that he is going to give me a way to provide for those children, and I prayed that I would be there with my children, not just have them and then me going on a business trip and flying off to go provide for them. I said I wanted to raise my children up like a nanny, daddy, mama if need be, if mama wasn't here, auntie, grandma, Mr. Wilder, Mr. Gwynn, all the hanging out at the Martin's houses, Todd Spencer's mom's house, Miss Brenda, you know what I mean? I wanted to be able to raise those children, be around them. The Baptistas, don't let me leave nobody off. The James family, I mean, just everybody, man. This is a victory. Mr. Hills, Mr. Barnett, we are a village. And this is a Jesus operation, man. A Jesus operation. So, what I'm telling you is, seek that face. Seek that spirit. That spirit comes in many ways. God sent me Jesus in a little Mexican man, the size of George Burns, kind of looked like Coach Wooden of UCLA, and he just is a fantastic blessing. The man, as the man told me yesterday, I have the keys to the home. I have the keys. Now, mind you, I haven't spent any money. I haven't given the man a dime, and I have keys. You know what I'm saying? I got all kinds of keys. Got my yard keys with the whistle, yard duty. Got my own home keys. A few diamonds, bling, 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 stuff on that. But the house keys. You know what I mean? Hey, when something's bothering you, when you think the whole world, you don't have to do anything by the rules of the world if you know Jesus. Seek him. And even if you don't have a relationship already, just look up and go, help me, Lord. Stand still. A lot of us have said those prayers for you. He's going to help you. He's going to step in. He's going to do what it needs to do. I truly, truly, truly would like for you to understand this and get it in your soul and your heart, because I know a lot of the historical facts, the names have been changed, but the spirit remains the same. And you must step out on faith. You must step out on faith when you're dealing with real Jesus. Until the next time, my people, I just want to say this to you. God bless you. God keep you. Thank you so very much for your prayers. Thank you so very much for your prayers, because prayer availeth much. And if we're going to march, let's march and then not spend money. Let's add a picket or a boycott with the march, and then we'll be successful. But on that note, I'm going to tell you the real juice, the real Mac game, the real Mac sauce, and player juice. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. God bless you till the next time.